Welcome back, Sleepers of the Sands, for another hot and spicy deep desert blueprint and resource map guide for the week of November 11th through the 17th. Now, before we jump into the best locations to find all those desert shinies, I want to make sure a big announcement is given, because this week marks Nerdbird Games' first year anniversary. And to show you all the gratitude I owe you for taking the time to watch, like, subscribe, and hype all of these videos, the channel will be giving away a free deluxe copy of Dune Awakening to one lucky sleeper. All you need to do is like this video and leave a comment below saying anything, and I will enter your name into the raffle on Friday night. Thanks again for all the support you've shown, and I look forward to one more year of keeping all of you up to date on the happenings of Dune Awakening. And taking a look at the real estate that we have out there close to the border in this week's Deep Desert, you can see that there are basically 4 archipelagios which you can be setting up in. 2 are focused right here, dead smack in the center of the map, where you can see kind of a D6 and 5 area, and then you got this little chunk that's over here pretty much in the D4 region. So if you're looking for grabbing everything on the map and just trying to stay central, these are nice little chunks of land that you can definitely be popping your bases on for doing so. We also have a long stretch of stuff over here on the east side, and of course the west side has a plethora of not only big but small islands that come in there. Please keep in mind, however, though, that people are reporting losing bases as well as items and vehicles out here on the E border after different weather patterns or PvPers come through. So there is still some kind of bug or issue that is influencing the way stuff happens. So you should be thinking about how you build your base and setting it up, knowing that you could lose stuff if you were up there on that E border. I would definitely recommend to be building in the D from this time on until we can start finding a solution for that issue and try to get it to stop popping up. Now, as a starting point, we want to take a look at the resources that are being shown up on the map. Of course, right now I'm showing a lot of tritanium, but we're not here focusing on tritanium at this point. We are here to focus on erythrite crystals, and that's right, there are 2 different outcroppings in caves this week, one up here in G5, and look at this, right down on the border B4. You could definitely be putting this cave on auto repeat and just getting as many erythrite crystals as you possibly could. But as for the larger resource nodes that we should be looking at, we can see that all of the stravinium and titanium are being placed out here in the center around G to I4 to 6 on both sides respectively. So the big hotspots for getting the stravinium in the mass that we usually like to get into if you're on a safe PvE server, more or less, you can take your buggy out there and you can just mine these things all day, all night without having to worry about any PvP. However, like on my server, you're probably going to get your buggy destroyed and you're going to be sad for a little bit because you lost a lot of resources trying to do this. And moving along, we also have, of course, 5 large spice plumes that we can see planted here on the map this week. So they are evenly spread out and they are giving us quite a bit of structure for us to be thinking about where we can put in. Of course, the east and west are the hot spots for these different spots this week because you do have 2 options. And as we all know, that for the most part, these spice fields do not always pop for people. So the more that you have closer to your base, the more chance you get, more or less, to be grabbing these things. But either way, you have a lot of big, large spice plumes right there on the border of E and F. So they're not too far to fly over and see to check to make sure if anything is up. And then you can go out there and gather them pretty simply. And moving on to the ships that have been dropped this week, you can see that all of our ships are on the PvP end of the map, and we got one here close to E3, we got another up here on F5, and one on F8. So more or less what we can see here is that all the large shipwrecks are basically right there on the border, so it's going to be easy to jump over there and try to pull out all those weapons that we've been looking forward to grabbing so that we don't have to worry about stuff whenever the map does convert, whenever they say it will here in the Chapter 3 version. So make sure you're getting out there now and getting as many of these high-end weapons as you can out of these large shipwrecks. They are close to the E border, and that is making it very good and simple for us to be grabbing them with no problem. Throw in the Imperial testing stations, and voila, we definitely have a very well distributed map this week. More or less, I always like to break things down into 3 different quadrants because, well, it's just easier for me to do so. And as you can see, there is obviously the east, or the west, sorry, the central and the east sides. And the larger picture is starting to come through now that we have more stuff put out here on the map for us to be going out there and gathering. As you can see, there are 3 PvE Imperial testing stations, all of them sitting right there on the E border. So if you are building your bases anywhere up here in the normal areas, you're going to be able to fly back and forth from these pretty easy and make sure that you get all the loot out of it. And if you are diving deeper into other things such as the G8, G4, or the I2 sections, you can also see that they are all more or less evenly distributed out there so that each little region or section of the map has complete access to these, and there should be no problem with us trying to get all of the blueprints that we are looking for this week because it is pretty much evenly distributed out there. And of course, we have the cave systems, which definitely have a large influence on how we should be planning to, of course, set up our bases, because there is quite a lot of good stuff that comes out of them. As you can see, there is 1 PvE large that you can get into here on B number 5. That is where you're going to get in there and find the constellation chests as well as all the other stuff that is really nice in the caves. And of course, the second one, which is the PvP cave, is up here in E1, right on the border. Now, of course, when it comes to finding the perfect spot for you to be setting up your base, obviously there are 3 different areas that I would rank from best to middle to worst. Obviously, we will start in the worst area, and it's not even that it is the worst, it's just probably the least accessible to all of the possible nodes that you could be gathering out there. One would be here in the E7, E8, E9 region. This is not a bad location. Once again, there is a lot out here. You have 2 large spice plumes, you have an Imperial testing station and a large shipwreck in the PvP zone, and of course you can jump down here to the PvE Imperial testing station. But when it comes to the overall abundance of stuff that you could be gathering, definitely this is the weaker end of the map, so we will definitely count this as the 3rd option for you to be putting stuff into. When it comes down to the second best, I would definitely say right here, jam smack in the middle. Once again, the reason I will say this Archipelago is going to offer you the best location stats is, well, you are a little bit short truly on the large spice plumes. However, you will have a large shipwreck right across the border from you, all of the possible resources in bulk, as well as an Imperial testing station sitting up there right with it. And you also have the erythrite crystals that are somewhere around in here. I can't remember exactly. Oh, G5, here it is. The erythrite crystals stuck right there. You can then also pop down here, get this Imperial testing station, and as you are flying, you could probably put this PvE cave on repeat. As for the absolute hottest place that you can find this week to be setting up a base is definitely going to be the west side. No points denied because you have access to absolutely everything that you could want out here. You got 2 large spice plumes, you got the Imperial testing station deep, you got the PvP cave just right there on the border, 1 large shipwreck also right there on the border, the PvE Imperial testing station, and of course easy access if you really got to know, right, just flying into grabbing your Stravinium and Titanium right here on the edge of the central region. Keeping this in mind, I hope everybody flies safe, and of course, as always, if you have not been out to the deep desert or you are not going out there and you have a working ornithopter, please remember to jump out here and do the Imperial testing stations in the A column, because this is giving you 180 free intel points, and if you are new to the game, that is huge for upgrading stuff like your ornithopters or your buggies to make them gather more stuff. 180 intel can go a long way. This is every week turned on repeat, and it is all PvE. You don't have to worry about being killed by people, and mostly these things are run on repeat, and since they are now instanced, you can gather everything for free and guaranteed probably once every 2 hours or so. So make sure you're jumping out there and you are doing those caves just to get yourself set up properly. And now it's time to move on. And of course, before you start setting up that base, make sure that you are prioritizing what it is exactly you are aiming at grabbing during the week. Because as you can see with the down ships, if you are focused on getting weapon upgrades, this is the place to go, as you can get the perforator, the replica pulse knife and sword, as well as the shell buster, and of course that great all-empowering Regis Disruptor pistol. As for more defensive capabilities, you will definitely want to be aiming for those PvE testing centers, as you can get Holix pick, the power harness, the cauterizer, young Sparky MK6, as well as that adaptive Holtzman shield, and the Dune Watcher, as well as the Black Market K12 lasgun. All these very important items which will not only keep you alive better, but also help you dice through people's ships and bases a whole lot faster. And always, don't forget to jump out there into those PvP caves, because you can get the circuit gauntlets, the IX core leggings, as well as all the pin cushioning stuff, that triple shot Regis repeating rifle, and a compact compactor if you are really looking to go out there and grab spice by hand. And as always, don't forget the PvE caves, which can also give you the replica pulse sword, the IX core leggings, as well as the Tabber soft step boots, just in case you're out there farming spice with some kind of compactor and don't want the spice worm to be chasing you down all the time. Those are going to be your best things. Not to mention that focus buggy MK6 cutter array. It's really good to bring back into the Haga basins to get all those basic resources that you can find lying around. And keeping that in mind, I hope everybody gets everything they're looking for and moving on. And I want to give a huge thank you to everyone who has dropped a comment and kept the Arrakis rumor mill churning this week. Let's dive right into the shoutouts. Starting out with Video Australia, your gratitude for the 3 large caves in the PvE sector echoes across the Great Flats, my man. It seems the Imperium has blessed your harvest. Keep farming that deep desert hard before those sands turn fully PvP, Sleeper, because then we will have a new discussion to be going on about. And speaking of the deep desert, a warm welcome to a new traveler, Alaskan Care Gaming. It's excellent to have you joining the ranks of those seeking titanium and stravinium, my friend. Your mind is sharp, a true mentat in training for questioning the geometry of our maps. You asked a very powerful question about the grid system, and it makes perfect sense because everything is equidistant sense when flying. So we keep the grid format as a simple coordinate system for quick callouts, to avoid drawing bullseyes on the center of your operations for any passing Fremen. Stay sharp and may your flights be swift. Next, now a warrior is among us. Momofukududu Windu is embracing the high stakes of Arrakis with full salvage and heavy PvP week on their server plate. May the Shai-Hulud guide your raids, and may your enemies be poorly equipped. We love to see that desert enthusiasm. Our historian and linguist expert, Sammy Koufax, thank you for the love and for keeping us honest with the proper terminology. For the benefit of all the new sleepers out there, yes, MK is indeed short for Mark, and the technological planet Ix is pronounced Ix. Clarity is powerful in the Imperium, and your improvements are always appreciated. Next, a tip from the field: Blacklist Blasters. Your intel on the E5 being the primo spot this week with a large spice field a mere 1,000 meters away is invaluable, my friend. May your spice harvester never break, and may a sandworm never find your cache. Also, a simple, sincere thank you goes out to Obduro21. The appreciation is fully mutual, Sleeper. We're honored to provide these maps for you every week. And finally, to our thoughtful commenter, number 19, you are absolutely right that Arrakis can feel a little bit of a slump sometimes, but thank you for calling me friendly weatherman. The winds of change and the movements of resources never truly cease out there in the deep desert, and it's my duty to keep your crisp knives sharp and your survival kits full. Much appreciated, and we'll be keeping updates coming on even more. Thanks again, Sleepers. Remember, leave a comment down below so that you can enter in for that raffle of the Dune Awakening Deluxe Edition. Also, anybody who has any questions or needs help with anything, please make sure sure to leave comments below, because we are a great community and we love helping people improve as well as understand the game better. Thank you all for watching and have a great day.